Aloha, everyone, and welcome back. This is Marissa Indigo of Divine DNA Blueprint Mystery School, here to assist you in the remembering and integration and activation of your divine blueprinting. Well, how are you all doing out there? Welcome to Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. It's starting to get pretty trippy out there, everyone. The unveiling is in process, right? So much shift and change, a lot of dissolve, a lot going on with this awakening. It's starting to get quite rigorous. A wonderful book to start to understand this process is by Stuart Wilde. It's called The Quickening. And he published it in the 80s, foreseeing these times of rapid acceleration, right? So we are called to share information today based upon what we are starting to see and understand that there will be a lot more of this to come. It's with the topic of discernment when it comes to information. And with this regard, we're not referencing mainstream media. I think if you're familiar with my work, you know well how I feel about that and how we discern headlines and narratives and all that kind of stuff. No, we're talking about individuals, right? Truth tellers, way showers, truthers, anybody putting information out, anyone with gifts that's putting information out. We were called to talk about deprogramming dystopia. There's a cat visiting us. What is dystopia? And from someone who personally was pretty obsessed with the unveiling of dystopian timelines, stories, myths, right? I'm a perpetual student as well as a teacher, right? So I'm both. And I really like that saying, I know nothing, I know some things, but the more that I start to learn, the more that I know I don't know, right? So there's a humility that's so important and also an integrity that's so important when we take up the torch of sharing information. And I've been excited to share this video for a long time about dystopian realities and how information and access is related to our light quotient within ourselves and our DNA. And I think Luna's pretty fascinated by all of this also. So we have, of course, the visitation of the felines here to assist with the integration and to have some fun with all of this, right? We don't want to take it all too seriously. It's all an illusion. You might as well have fun with it, right? How much are we going to take things seriously? How much are we going to allow any outside information, regardless of source, to override your own internal information, right? And I'm going to actually have her move because she's distracting me from this information. There we go. So what we are guided to discuss is how one's own DNA and the process of clarity of our DNA, meaning how much integration have we already done? How much work have we done? How much unified state of awareness have we integrated, right? Because depending on how much of a light quotient an individual has, that will impact their access to reading the Akash. And so what we've been excited to talk about for some time on a public video, we talk about these things in our mastery courses and more of our private work and webinars, as a lot of this information has to be encoded and so isn't appropriate for mainstream media such as this, right? But your DNA is your ability to perceive reality. However many strands you came in with, how much has been activated with your incarnation. This is why some have more access than others initially in their remembering, right? And so then it is our responsibility to reflect this and to assist others in remembering who they are, to unlock more, right? To liberate, to deprogram, right? And so essentially your light quotient is directly connected to your access. So if you are perceiving reality from the fourth dimension, which is still trauma bonding, it's a lot more negative, right? There's an imbalance. And it's not about being Pollyanna, right? So we want to explore the extremes here, right? So a lot of people, upon initial uncovering with light workers, assume, and some are superficial. Yeah, you can tell. You can tell by the writing. You can tell by the energy. Everything is encoded. Are they a surface level reader? Are they just starting out? Are they new? Or have they been in this for a while and they've got some skin in the game? And for me, the way of essentially measuring is, what is the balance of the content? Is it grounded? Is it real and tangible? Is the content all fluffy pie in the sky with no practical application, no acknowledgement of how challenging this experience of awakening can be, right? No shadow work. Essentially, when you're doing light work, you're also doing shadow work because one cannot exist without the other, right? We live in a duality paradigm. We come into that reality, and it is up to us to do the work to transcend that, to be in a unified state within. And we're still witnessing and supporting others as they are crossing those bridges as well into the new earth paradigm, which is out of the hell and into a heavenly realm that we create for ourselves, right? And these are a lot of loaded words. You know, this could be a huge video, and we're trying to keep it succinct here. Essentially, I'll get to the point. You're going to start to see a lot more dystopian messages, people out on the corners with their microphones and their speaker phones, you know, the sky is falling, talking about a lot of disaster scenarios. Are those a possibility? Yes. Are they holistic? No, because that's only the 4D perception, right? So these people are kind of in between realms. They're in the bardo, they're getting access to some mystical site, but there's still a lot of their own personality, their own ego, their own trauma interwoven. So what we're trying to say, basically, is to be very discerning with the information that you are now paying attention to. And then it's very useful to look at, observe how the information that you see, that you come across, what does it feel? What does it reveal within you, right? Because some people could be talking about a certain topic and you're like, I don't really believe that that's going to happen, but it is something I'm concerned about. Let me explore that within myself. Where am I giving my power away over to an external something, right? Or a concept. So these are massive opportunities to deprogram and to determine for yourself, what are the qualities of my future? What do I believe about why I came here and what it's all about? Do I believe in dystopia for humanity? Do I believe in a higher potential, a higher realm, a new paradigm for humanity? So it's really a beautiful opportunity to actually exercise your own wisdom, your own discernment, your own sovereignty, right? And for me, as someone who I've had these gifts of sight my whole life and didn't really want to do this, but kept getting pushed to share information. I realized that if I were to take up this role, that I'd have to do a lot of integration and some actual formal training and really learn how to remember that I've done this before. You know, a lot of us have been speakers and sharers of information, wisdom keepers, oracles, priestesses, all of these words that you want to use. Essentially, those who are sharing information, soothsayers, right? Diviners. There's a lot of words for this, and I'm sharing them to activate the codes within you. Priests, wizards, beautiful masters of information, the magi, right? The different orders, the different mystery schools. So we all have those within us. And you get called to serve, you want to make sure that you're doing the best possible job and getting out of the way, right? And being a clear conduit, a clear channel for the information. And that requires some training. So you will start to feel, oh, wow, that's a very fearful message. Oh, wow, that's intense information, but it's also balanced with empowerment and tools and also the silver lining, right? Or, oh, that's just all Pollyanna. There's not really any work involved in that. Like, how do we get from here to there? So there's a lot of opportunity for practicing your own discernment with all of this. And you'll start to really be able to tell, like, oh, that information is tainted with that person's experience. So now that brings me back to our DNA, our ancestral clearing, which is so important because we all have trauma in our DNA from our human ancestral lineages going all the way back to the point of creation, to the first split of separation from source consciousness billions of years ago, right? And going from that point back into this now, all of the galactic shit in between all of that. So when people are sharing all of these dystopian realities and, oh, if you don't believe in this, if you're not paying attention to this, you're in denial. Well, first of all, they're projecting their own lens onto others, which is inappropriate, right? And ill-advised for one in a wisdom role in sharing information. You present information and you do not cast judgments about whether or not it is received or how it is received, right? But the first step is acknowledging our own work, that we're not projecting our own stuff subconsciously, unconsciously into the work and into the message. So the reason that the dystopian timelines have such a hold over us for so long is that they are reflecting to us the possibility to reveal and to clear the trauma from our DNA. And a lot of these timelines that we have seen the last 4 years, 2020 to 2024, these are replaying Atlantean distorted timelines, right? Of control, degradation, genetic manipulation, and whether or not people will say, no, I don't have to do that. I don't have to relive that. Some people do have to relive it in order to clear it. It's different for everyone. It's perfect. And there is no judgment, right? And there's no black and white, oh, well, you did this. So, it's infinite. It's not written in stone. You'll notice that's why I don't do predictions. I'll share, this is what I'm seeing. This is some of the energetics you could be dealing with because I'm seeing them and working through them myself. And I'm very intimately connected to the collectives, right? But everything can shift, and we know that, we see that. All you have to do is shift the focal point of your mind and connect it to your heart again, right? So anything can shift on a dime. It's very important to remember that. And you're going to start seeing a lot of people getting caught up in their Pluto because they haven't yet mastered and cleared and partnered with their Pluto. Very important, right? And so this is where the evolutionary astrology comes in, where we understand that we are intimately interconnected with all of creation and that the heavenly bodies are actually guides above to assist us. It's very intricately calculated with the divine clocks that we are a part of, right? That all of these different heavenly bodies, the stars, the planets, the asteroids, they're all doing movements above and through us to activate and to assist us in this ascension process, right? So, been excited to share this information for a really long time, inviting you to use your body as the barometer. So when you're presented with information, how does that feel within you? Does it feel like, oh, clenched, ooh, pokey, like you got stabbed in the gut? How does it feel? You feel a sense of dread. You feel the hairs on the back of your neck rise. Listen to your primal technology of the body. All of your own spidey senses are intact for these times, right? So you can invite them to come online. Or does the information feel soft and warm and a sacred yes? Oh my gosh, this feels so good. This feels so right and nourishing and comforting, and it brings relief to me. It feels like truth, right? And so if we were to package this message, it would be about truth and discernment and starting to understand how our DNA works, how our connectedness to information works, how our perception is upgraded and elevated through initiations and integrations, and coming into a clarified state of the I am, right? You can't give clear information from a wounded place. You can't give clear information from an ungrounded place, meaning that you're detached too much, right? And you're in another paradigm that people can't relate to. You have to bridge, right? And so that will let you know where the reliable information is. Ultimately, regardless of the external sources, regardless of anything I say or any wisdom keepers say, it's about you and your connection and what you are receiving. So if you are feeling fear about the future, if you are fearing a dystopian timeline, right? And you're kind of feeling yourself, watching yourself get sucked into all of the fear porn, that's okay. It's information. So where is that within your body? Why are you worried about this? And you'll find that it's more and more belief systems that were all etched into our consciousness from the old paradigm, right? Value systems, ways of measuring our value, our alignment, that are based on not the highest soul integrity or essence quality, right? So essentially, we're stripping away all of the conditions. Well, when I have that, then I know I'm safe, or this will bring me safety. No, you are it. So, what does it take to become it, to strip away any of the rules, any of the conditions, right? Any of the algorithms? That's all the artificial matrix. So I welcome you into this new paradigm. I welcome you into sovereignty and new levels of discernment, joy, empowerment, inspiration. Will it be intense? Yeah. Will there be tests? Yes. Yes, there's going to be a lot of tests. But we didn't sign up for some really just boring, basic video game of consciousness. We came here to be challenged and to expand our consciousness beyond, right? And I'll mention that saying again that I love so much, that if the universe didn't push and pull us in different directions, we would be circles or blobs instead of stars. And the last piece I want to share when it comes to discernment is understanding that there are multiple uses and definitions, programs when it comes to words. And it's very important to start to dissect the energetics of words. How words are used in the modern context are actually the opposite of what they mean. And there is an intent behind that to control, to dominate, and to instill fear, lack, separation, and limitation, right? It's part of the manipulation for us to be kept small. So it's very important to break through, to realize that every word for every individual is a file, right? That you could open that file and go into a rabbit hole of associations, right? Based upon experience and a collection, an inventory of experience and knowledge coming from that. So here's a prime example. Because of where the energies are going, because of how a lot of people that don't have higher access and aren't able to weave the higher with this physical, right? Until they become one. That's the whole process. We ping pong until we learn how to make it one inside of ourselves. That's the process that we are all on together, right? So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, here we go. Keyword, because this is the energetic you're going to be seeing a lot of right now. Apocalypse. Okay, now this is what I want to show you because it's important for your discernment and mastery to start to understand that there are multiple definitions of words. One of them is true, one of them is manipulation. Okay, so here we go. Here's the very first thing that's going to pop up. Apocalypse. And they're saying this about it. The complete final destruction of the world is described in the biblical book of Revelation. Okay. Number two, an event involving destruction or damage on an awesome or catastrophic scale. Okay. Like stock market collapse. Okay. Now let's go down to this. Let's go down to the origins. And this is the key code here. When you're learning, when you're exploring, when you're starting to dissect and deprogram the words, go to the origin. That is where the light is. That is where the truth is, right? And you will be liberated from all of this kind of attempts to ensnare you once again into the matrix. Here we go. Origin, Old English, right? And then there's Old French, and then there's Old Latin, and then we're going to the root Greek, okay? Apocalypsis. What does it mean? Uncover, reveal. Okay, so look at this as we keep going, right? You want to keep going until you get to the bottom of it, until there's no more left to learn about the topic. Be relentless in the pursuit of understanding and your own knowledge for your own liberation. What is the modern definition of apocalypse? The end or destruction of the world, especially as described in the Christian Bible. Definition in history. Apocalypse has come to be used popularly as a synonym for catastrophe, but the Greek word apocalypsis, from which it is derived, means a revelation. A revelation. The truth being revealed. So it's important to see how much the old paradigm is still, what's the word? Incestuously woven with the biblical narrative, right? It's so important to see through all of that. So some are going to say, it's the end. It's horrible. You know, we're going to be in the FEMA camps. Okay. And some are going to say it's a revelation. We are seeing through. It's like the Wizard of Oz. Oh, don't look behind the curtain. You look behind the curtain, and what's there? A tiny being with no power that's projecting and creating a vision through propaganda of being this all-powerful, almighty energy, but it's nothing, right? So the truth is being revealed. And it's also important to note that where these biblical references come up at a loss, meaning untruth, meaning incomplete, is that all of the ancient ones' stories know, have shared that the end is a beginning. That's the biggest lie of all, that, oh, it's the end. Yeah, of course it's the end. It's the end of all the most horrible things ever. This has been prophesized from ancient cultures for thousands and thousands of years, right? So you have to think about the energy of the zero or the circle. It is without beginning and without end. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, right? But it transforms. This is science. It's quantum mechanics. This is the reality. So always looking at, well, when something breaks down, it's making space for something new. And it doesn't have to be a horrible thing. And humanity does not deserve to go through more of a hellish enslavement nightmare. I believe we are walking away from that. So thank you for joining me. Sorry about the cats. They're all excited. Everyone's excited about all of this energy. Everyone's feeling a lot. Take good care. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy this experience of actually getting to be here and to be present and aware for all of this. It's a big deal. It's an honor. Remember that every soul that got a body, 100,000 were in line. Fuck, I didn't get in. I didn't get in. This is the hottest ticket in the universe. Everyone wants to be here right now on Gaia for this, right? So it's just important to remember who you are and why you came. Remember that there are unlimited opportunities and resources and potentialities for you, regardless of what is being said outside. Remember to block that. Listen where it feels applicable. Exercise your discernment. And the easiest way is to use your body as the metric system, right? To determine whether it's a yes or a no. You'll feel it. A yes is going to feel really good. A no is going to feel icky. So start to strengthen and develop your spidey senses, right? And if you're interested in going deeper, I have a whole mystery school about all of these topics, all kinds of content. So thank you so much. Here for you. I see you and I honor you. And I will see you soon. Take good care.